Today we want to talk about ways to collect your debtors faster. Quite often we see very good, strong, profitable businesses that have really poor cash flow. And one of the main reasons they have poor cash flow is due to a bad debtor collection system. So basically, in order to speed up your cash collections, there are a number of ways you can do it. Firstly, the invoicing. So do you invoice up front before you've started a job? Do you invoice on completion of a job? Do you invoice partway through jobs? Depending on your type of business, depends on when you should be invoicing your customers. And quite often people fall into lazy habits and aren't invoicing until either much further after the job's completed or not invoicing as soon as they possibly can. So by speeding up your invoicing and getting the invoice to the client in a more efficient manner can really help speed up your debtor collections. As soon as the client's got the invoice, they're obviously going to pay it sooner as long as they've got the invoice. The terms on the invoice are also really important. Quite often we see clients who've got 30 days after the end of the month as their standard terms. Now to me that's like giving a client up to 60 days to pay your invoice, and then if they happen to forget they'll even take longer. So by shortening the terms on your invoicing to say 14 days, it shortens the distance between when the client receives the invoice and when they're likely to pay it. So many of your clients will be used to paying on the invoice due date. So if you give them 60 days, they'll take 60 days. If you give them 14 days, they'll take 14 days. So look at your terms that you have on your invoice and think about what it really should be instead of what it's always been. The third way to speed up your debtors collection is to have follow-up phone calls or emails for clients who are slow in paying. So if they've gone past payment terms, you need to be able to follow them up on the phone to find out when that's likely to be paid. And quite often we see clients that implement this where they contact one of their customers and the customer says, I don't remember ever seeing that invoice, we haven't got it in our system. And that follow-up creates the urgency for the client to then turn around and pay your bill because it's now overdue. So quite often we see clients that have poor cash flow don't actually have a follow-up system, and it's a really, again, another bad habit that really affects your cash flow. So these three simple little tips can really improve your debtors collection substantially.